It is time for our, is there echo in here? Sounds like it. It's time for our advanced study session. ReMar Review nurses, are you here? There is an echo. There is an echo in here. I think it's your computer. All my ReMar Review nurses, class begins. Class begins. Hello. Hi, Jarena. Hi, Yasmin. How you doing? Ready? You ready to say that? Everybody's like, I'm ready to get this going. Come on in. Come on in. This is our advanced study session with ReMar Review. I will be your instructor tonight. My name is Regina Callion. I am so ready for this. I'm so ready for this study session because it's something that I said I would never do, because I always thought, you know, when it came to math for NCLEX particularly, that you just had to memorize formulas and you would be good. You would be good. But I was daily, hi everybody, I was daily getting requests for people to explain math. And I didn't understand it for a long time. I'm like, what is the big deal with math? Aren't we learning it in nursing school? Then I thought back to my experience in nursing school, and I had a revelation that we're not learning it. We're not going over the basics of numbers and calculations and why numbers are important. So I went on this mission to make math simple. So tonight we will be doing math. Do you have your handout? You need to have it for this class. All right. Because if you don't have it, it's going to be very difficult for you to follow along. This whole week, I'm looking for it. This whole week has been an effort for me to meet you guys where you are, and particularly my students that are still in nursing school. I wanted to prep you for an NCLEX review later on, all right? So we'll be going over the math. This is the Quick Facts book that I am recommending to every nursing student, because this breaks down the content for you the way I'm about to do math. It breaks down the content in a very simple and easy to understand form, just as I'm about to do with this math. So get out your math packets right here, and we're going to get ready to get started. There's 600 of us tonight. So far, 600 of us. That is amazing. Where have you ever been to a nursing class where there were literally 600 students? Never. I've never been there. Okay, never. So this is an amazing thing tonight, you guys joining me here tonight. Now, I want to start by saying there is 2 nights of lectures today and tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So that's Monday and Tuesday. And then Wednesday, no class. And then Thursday, we're going to go over your homework. So you see on the math packet, there's homework to be done. I'm giving you guys a whole day to just relax your minds and take time with your homework. And I didn't think the homework was difficult, but it may be to some. So anyways, let me start. You know what? Let me start with, you got in home from work. Okay, people are getting in home from work. They're getting in home from work and they're settling in. So let's just settle in here. What I want to do is actually, I want to read this testimonial first. I just got this testimonial. This is hot news. I just got this testimonial 5 hours ago. Whoa, was that it? 5 hours ago from Tarika Cade. I've been doing testimonials because my ReMar nurses, the class of 2018 is just exploding on me. All right. I can't even keep up with them. We're getting testimonials every day. Let me just read Tarika Cade's testimonial. She says, passed with 85 questions, P in NCLEX. I strongly recommend ReMar. It helped me pass NCLEX. Learning from ReMar was so much better than reading a thick book for hours and hours at a time. Regina made it fun and interesting. Almost everything I had on NCLEX was something Regina went over. It was worth every penny. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I like this. I saw this earlier, and I just thought, man, This is incredible. All right, so I am about to start. It's up to 788 people on this live Facebook feed. I can't explain it. I cannot explain it. But this just speaks to what we're doing here is important and matters to you guys. You know what? I am going to start. But first, you guys know me. All right. And I've been working really hard on this presentation and on this PowerPoint. So what I'm going to do right now, and this might not be for everybody, but this is for me. I'm going to ask Mark. You don't even know I'm about to do this. I'm going to ask Mark to come up here and pray that we have no problems with the audio, with the video, with this presentation, because you know how the enemy does. Okay. He wants to steal, kill, and destroy what God has for us and our plans. And I'm not about that. So I need to seal this presentation in prayer. Okay. So, oh, you're going to say right here? You're going to say right here? Right there. Okay. So we just about to pray. Okay. So just bow your heads and pray with us that this goes very smoothly.
All right, everybody. Some of you might be driving or in the car. Safety first. Just pray in your spirit and as we pray along. Father in heaven, thank you for an opportunity just to gather together with so many like-minded individuals that are determined to do something to be able to bless others and to help others in the amazing profession of nursing. Lord, you know their hearts, you know their needs, you know their desires, and they ask, Lord, that you would give them this evening exactly what they need, and then also that you would continue to lead them and guide them throughout the remainder of their career as they push further and further, Lord, to be blessings in this year and the years to come. I ask that you would bless this session, all of the technical issues and aspects, have everybody to log on who needs to be on, and that they get what they need to get. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, here we go. So you guys know this is the advanced study session for ReMar review, and the dates are there. So we're not going to belabor those dates because you guys know when you are supposed to be on at this class. Quick Facts is the book that I was referencing before. I just want to share with you guys just the things that people are saying, and it's making me so proud of this book. I've gotten that this is a great book. People buy this from our website, but they also buy it from Amazon too. So they rate it on Amazon and they say this is a great book. It covers different problems you see in nursing, plus common medications. It's super helpful for refreshing your memory before HESI or NCLEX. Another person said, I purchased Quick Facts along with the rest of the self-study program. You will pass your NCLEX on the first try. The information provided is easy to understand. When I go back to school for my RN, I would use this program. And then the last one that I would like to share is I am a new graduate, first-time NCLEX taker. Attended Regina's citywide review in Cleveland and absolutely fell in love with her. She takes such a complicated concept and magically you understand the content within seconds to minutes. I would absolutely recommend this book for anyone in the nursing/medical field. It is a great teaching tool and resource. Thank you for that. So they're talking about this Quick Facts book, which I know many of you already have because I'm getting emails about how to use it. So we're going to use, thank you for putting that link up. So that is the Quick Facts book. Okay. Now you guys will, I love when you help me teach. So I will be needing your help during this session to help your classmates out because some people will be coming in at various times and they'll have questions and I won't be able to answer all the questions all the time. So ReMar nurses help teach this class tonight. All right. We are going to get started with our handout. All right. So the first thing that I want to go over is I already went over the schedule, so you guys have that in front of you. But I do want to go over Florence Nightingale because we do know her as a famous nurse, the mother of nursing. She's referenced many times. But as I was preparing for this presentation, I learned myself that Miss Nightingale was a lover of math, and she was actually a statistician who loved to come up with statistics everywhere she went. And particularly in the hospitals, that she worked at, she would be able to calculate mortality rates and sickness rates. I mean, just doing these mind-blowing things that women were not even supposed to be able to know how to do. She was doing it, and at the same time making the profession of nursing more credible and more valuable in a male-dominated field. So I wanted to present that fact about Miss Florence Nightingale so you guys will know it and be able to share it since we're talking about math. Now, day one, we'll be just working with numbers, and we'll be just introducing some very basic concepts and getting you guys back into thinking, because some people may be intimidated by working with math. So I'm not assuming that you guys know anything. I'm starting this from the very beginning. So if you look at the statement for NCLEX, let me show you here. Let me see if I can do it like this. Okay. If you look at the statement that NCLEX gives, and it talks about the math that they will be using, they let you know that there are about 3 systems that they will be giving you guys to demonstrate competency. So you will have your metric system, your international system of units, and also your imperial measurement system options. And those things are like, if you see imperial measurement options, that's pints, quarts, gallons, inches, feet. Those things make up imperial measurement options. So for here, I will try to keep it very simple. There will be no complex math. I won't, try to make you guys do anything that you have never done before. So let's jump into it. And I see your comments about everybody who passes gets a shirt. I see it, and I acknowledge it. I acknowledge the statement. All right. So here we go, guys. Let's do it. We will be working with numbers, and I'm gonna have to just go solo on this. All right. We will be working with numbers tonight. Numbers. Fill this out. Hi, Kelly from Detroit. Fill this out. Numbers describe patient basics. All right, this is page 3 of the workbook. Numbers describe patient basics. Now, these numbers can always be positive or negative. These numbers can always be positive or negative. I would love to start by calculating fluid balance, because, there's something important about a fluid balance. Does anybody know why we need to know a patient's fluid balance? Just put it up on the screen there. What's so important about knowing the fluid balance of a patient? Yes. Okay. All right. I see you guys. Fluid balances. Fluid balances help us to establish a patient's hydration status, right? Yes, you're monitoring renal function. You're monitoring a patient's hydration status. So that is the importance of it, all right? So when we're talking about it, the formula that I want you guys to know is to subtract the output from the input, all right? Subtract the output from the input or the intake. Let me show you here. All right. Now, I want to ask the question, can a patient's fluid balance be negative? Can a patient's fluid balance be negative? What do you guys think? Absolutely. It can absolutely be negative. And when you think about a patient having a negative fluid balance, it's like, what are the implications of this? Why would we want or not want a patient's fluid balance to be negative? Because essentially the fluid balance is telling us the patient's hydration status, right? So if it can be negative, then what does that mean for your patient? Well, it means that your patient, like I see you guys are writing, is dehydrated. Unati said that. Unati said that the patient would be dehydrated. And that is absolutely true. So in a further step, because this is what NCLEX does, and we'll see this more, I think I was talking about it, how NCLEX is going to have you not just spit out an answer like, can a patient's fluid balance be negative? You can say, yes, it is. But what are the implications of it? And what patients would you actually want to have a negative fluid balance? What patients would you actually want to have a negative fluid balance? So I have 3 lines here. What patients will we want to be a little dehydrated? Does that make sense? There's some patients that you actually will want to be dehydrated. Go ahead, feel free to put it up on the screen. I have 3. I have 3. Do you guys have 3? 3 patients who you would want to be dehydrated. Yes, I see them here. I see them coming up here. Good job. Good job. Yep. Good job, Sonia, Maria. Yep. Shanifra. Okay, let me give you my 3 right here. They are, there we go. Okay, so I have patients with congestive heart failure, of course, CHF patients, because they tend to have problems with fluid overload. Also, patients with SIADH. And I know the people who have the DVD self-study package know SIADH because I specifically go over that. So if you see SIADH, you can write it down, but I definitely want you to look that up so you are aware of what that condition is. And also, why do we want them to be dehydrated a little bit? And then the last group of patients are renal failure patients because they have problems putting off fluid. So we do not want them to have fluid overload or fluid retention issues. So it's okay for them to have what is considered a negative fluid balance status. All right. So there are actually 2 more patients, though. There are 2 more patients who typically have negative fluid balances who you might not think about. All right, who you might not think about. And I haven't seen anybody put them up here yet, but I want to share them with you so you can just be mindful that these patients tend to be dehydrated. And probably once you see this, it'll make sense to you. So let me just show you. Okay, so patients with dementia or Alzheimer's or some sort of cognitive impairment also tend to be dehydrated. And if you can think about it, it's just because they are not drinking enough. They forget to drink. Patients with Alzheimer's, they don't think to eat or drink or, do things that we really take for granted every day, right? So our Alzheimer's patients tend to usually be very dry. Also, and NCLEX may ask you this, patients who are going for surgery. And can anybody think why preoperative patients may be a little dehydrated? Yes, it is because they're not eating, okay? So you have to usually fast 8 hours, 12 hours before you go for surgery. So you go into a surgery pretty dry, all right? So think about that when you are taking care of your post-operative patients next time, all right? Okay, so let's start with the numbers. We are going to start with multiplication. And multiplication is something that we do a lot in nursing. It plays a very big role when it comes to dosage calculation and breaking down fractions and things like that. Sometimes you have to get into multiplication. But I just want to start basically from basic multiplication, and that's multiplying by 0. So go ahead and fill out the box here. Very simple. 79 times 0 is 0. 6 times 0 will be 0. All right. 144 times 0 is going to be 0 always. Anytime you multiply a number by 0, the answer will be 0. And that is going to be that major point for you all. Let's go to the ones. All right, this is the rest of the box that you guys didn't have in your paperwork. So now you can do this. Thank you, Marcia, for filling in that for me. You guys have this here, 12.5 times 1, same thing, all right? 4 times 1, 4. Anytime you multiply something by itself, it is going to be the number, the origin number, okay? I like multiplying by the tens because all you have to do is put that 0 on the end of the number. So we got, the first one is 12 times 10. You just add a 0 to 12, you got 120. Yep. 83 times 10, you go ahead and add a 0 to 83, and we got 830. And then the last one is 95 times 10. So if you listen, if you put that 0 there, 950. And don't have no shame in your game, okay? Mark, can you give me my calculator? I am never above using a calculator, and I don't care if it's 1 times 1, because we're working with people's lives here, all right? And there's nothing wrong. This is my calculator. It's been my best friend these last 2 weeks, and I will sit, my daughter would be like, Mommy, what you doing? I'm trying to figure out 1 times 1. So it's going on, we're moving on, okay, to the hundreds, and you guys have that here. These are your calculations. When you're multiplying something by 100, all you have to do is add 2 zeros to that origin number. So the 10 times 100 is going to be 1,000, and then the 35 times 100 will be 3,500, okay? So I am going by this worksheet here, okay? So it may seem like I'm going by fast, but if you have the worksheet, you're not taking a whole bunch of notes. You're filling in what I've already presented for you. Yes. All right. Now, the metric system is very common in medicine, and it is using multiples of 10 in that system. So we'll talk a little bit about that later. All right. Okay. All right, so we did multiplication. Let me get out of the way here. All right, so division is also something else that you need to be fluent with when you talk about clinical math, So in division, particularly in medical math, you usually see division being represented by something that looks like a fraction. So I have here 12 divided by 3 equals 4. But you can also see that represented here as 12 over 3 equals 4. So I wanted you guys to go ahead and turn these numbers here, these division signs, into fractions and be able to figure it out that way. So just take a second. I think you already had it on your worksheet, but just take a second and do it if you had not done it, and figure it out so that I can show you guys the answer, okay? And if you guys can't hear, just touch the video, tap the video, and you will be able to hear the audio of this video, okay? So let me show you here what it should look like. If you are changing those numbers into fractions, yes, exactly. You will have the 10 over 2 equals 5. And the reason why I'm doing this is because sometimes what I see students doing is mixing the numbers up. So instead of 10 over 2, they'll have 2 over 10, okay? So it's 10 over 2 equals 5. And then the last one is 24 over 8 equals 3, okay? So that is the combinations that you should have. Now, let's go ahead and put this into real life practice. We have a scenario underneath, and the scenario is simply this. All right, ReMar nurses, here we go. A patient is prescribed Prozol, and it's 750 milligrams per day. Okay, the medication comes in 250 milligram tablets. How many tablets will be administered per day? So this is the case where you would make this into a fraction in order to solve it. All right, you'll make it into a fraction, so you have to show your work, and it's better for you to be able to show your work now so that you can check for any mistakes, because we're about to solve for X here. So I'm going to show you how I did it, and you guys can check and see if you have it the same way. Okay. So what we had to do was, since the medication prescription was a 750 milligram dose, but you only had 250 tablets, you needed to see how many times can 250 go into 750, all right? And that would be 3 tablets. So I see that you guys are doing it. Very good. That means you're comfortable with this. Good. This is excellent. You guys can do this math for sure. And this is typically the math that you see on your NCLEX exam, especially NCLEX PN. The math will always be pretty generic, okay? It will, in my experience, the math is pretty basic. It's kind of like the blood gas interpretations, where you don't have to know the uncompromised and those you don't have to know the uncompensated and partially compensated ones. So the math is pretty straightforward for NCLEX, I would say. So let's go on here, you guys. Somebody said I knew 3, Ben knew 3. Good. All right, perfect. So good. All right. Remember, fractions in general just mean parts of a whole. Okay, a fraction is part of a whole, and there are many ways that fractions can come to you. So look at the examples here. 1/4, 0.50, 1 in 8 parts. That is that's a ratio actually, but it's still considered a fraction because it's a part of a whole. And then 35%. These are all fractions. And just looking at the different variations, I was like shocked, because I didn't know that these would be considered a fraction. I didn't know that these would be considered a fraction. So definitely some opportunities for learning. Fractions can be presented in multiple ways, but they are not always correct when we see them. Okay, fractions are not always correct when we see them. So what I want you guys to do now is to what they call reduce fractions. Reduce fractions. All right. So on the next page here, we have some fractions. Well, at the bottom of your page, you have some fractions. We're on page 5 that I want for you guys to reduce. So let's do it. The first one is 10/20. And it's a correct fraction, but it's not the best fraction. So let's reduce it, meaning let us take the highest number that evenly goes into both the numerator and the denominator. So the top and the bottom number. And I know a lot of you guys may know this information, but we have classmates who may not know this information, and they need to be able to do it. So go ahead and put your answers up just to show everyone what it should be. So the first one should be reduced down to 1/2. And let me make this totally big for you guys. All right. The second, 5/15 equals, yep, they both 5 goes into both of them. That's the highest number evenly. So you have 1/3. Okay, good job, Apple Land. Danae, hi. And then the last one, 4/32, Rhonda Clinton, yes, 1/8 for that. So if you reduce the fractions, that is your order there. Okay, so fraction reduction. Good job. That's good. All right, that's good. All right, and don't if you want more practice, don't forget you will see these in your homework. So don't worry about it, okay? Right now we're just learning. We're just getting into it, getting started into it. All right, let's go over conversions. Now, the metric system is definitely the most common system that you will see in the medical field. Remember, I told you that there were three units of measurement, basically, that NCLEX likes to use. The metric system is by far the most popular, and it is really easy because half of the math is already done. and it's called implied math. And like I said, implied math means that you already know based on the prefixes what the number is. You know what the situation is. So, of course, in the medical field, we like to make things overly complicated. But when it comes to the metric system, this system is really legit. So you have the prefixes. I'm sorry, you have the prefixes on the bottom of your page: milli, centi, and deci. All right, so look at that. Look at the decimal placements here. So for milli, it's 1/1000th of whatever it is, okay? So it could be a gram or it can be a liter, a gram or a liter of anything, and it'll be 1/1000th of it. Centi is 1/100th of something. And then deci is a tenth of something. So I do have the confusion alert here because sometimes when you're studying math, you may see that another name for the metric system is International System of Units. So when you're reading about math in a book, you may see that term. And essentially what it is just, it's the modern form of the metric system. So I guess the phrase metric system is kind of played out. And so they came up with a new name to call it. And it just adds to the confusion of math, but it's the same thing, okay? So put that down as a note, all right? Okay, now that we know conversions, let's talk about some conversion factors in terms of the household system. So let's make this plain here for you guys. All right, so in the household system, we looked at the metric system. Let's go to the household system. These are the measurements that you could have, and they are weight-based or liquid-based. So you guys can write down pounds and ounces under the weight-based, and then the liquid-based go ahead and write down these measurements for the liquid-based, which is cup, fluid ounce, tablespoon, teaspoon, and drop. And drop is abbreviated GTT, and that is the Latin for glute or drop. Let me go to the confusion alert. I see you guys request to put that up again. Let me go back to that. Okay, so the confusion alert, here it is. One more time. I was talking about the metric system, and another name for the metric system is that system. Okay, so it's the International System of Units. International System of Units. Thank you, Tamila. Thank you for putting that back up. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, let's go. All right, so I talked about the weight being pounds and ounces, cup, fluid ounce, tablespoon, teaspoon, and drop. Some people asked about the apothecary system, and the apothecary system is where you have the drems, the grains, and all those things. For NCLEX, you do not have to know that. And I still see questions with it, but you don't have to know it for NCLEX. I looked that up and I searched it out, and I saw that you did not have to know that. But you will have to know the different conversion factors between the two that I just gave you, which was the household system into the metric system. So let's fill in the blanks here on the sheet. It says that most conversion problems require you to remember conversion factors. Most conversion problems require you to remember conversion factors. So let us write them down here. All right. 1 milliliter equals 20 drops. 5 milliliters equal 1 teaspoon. And that is the most common one, that 5 milliliters to 1 teaspoon. All right, love that. 15 milliliters equal 1 tablespoon, right? I wasn't even going over that apothecary system. That system is a mess. All right, 15 milliliters equal 1 tablespoon. 30 milliliters equal 1 ounce. 1 ounce. 237 milliliters, or the legal, you usually see 240 milliliters equals 1 cup. That's the legal measurement for it. 1 cup. And then the last one, I wanted you guys to know 1 kilogram. 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds. I don't know. We're leaving this up. Okay. Mark said if you registered for this, you'll get a link in your email, so you can watch it again and again and again. Okay. You'll be able to watch it through there. Okay. You guys got that? Perfect. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. You guys got it? All right. I'm moving on, but you guys need this for your homework. Okay. So record ice chips at half their volume. Record ice chips at half their volume. So, por ejemplo, in my Spanish, por ejemplo, for example, if a patient took 6 ounces of ice chips, how many milliliters of fluid should the nurse record in ounces? Give it to me in ounces. How many people know? Put it up here on the screen. If a patient took 6 ounces of ice chips, how many milliliters of fluid? Well, I said milliliters there, but I wanted it in ounces though. How many milliliters of fluid should the nurse record? So I did see somebody put, Jasmine, you love my Spanish. That's so silly. All right. So it is 3 ounces. Yes. But also if you give me the milliliters, like it says there, it says milliliters, it's 180. Okay. So we understand that. And you know what? Somebody just sent me an email asking me about this for NCLEX, to how much, if a patient took a cup of ice chips, how should they record it? So now if NCLEX says a patient had 12 ounces of ice chips, you guys know how to record it, okay? So I'm excited about that. All right. Okay. So you guys, all right, how do you feel about the math? How do you feel about it? Or you feel good? Because actually, that is where we're stopping at tonight. Tonight was, I know, tonight was the introduction. Tonight was the introduction to the math. Now, what I want to do, I'm just going to bring, I have to give you guys some more information about yourself, okay? And I know that this may seem like one of those things that is very difficult, but I promise you guys, when you study it with the system, when you study it with a common goal of just understanding it, it's so much easier. I know a lot of people are just trying to read books about this math, and that is not the way to do it, okay? It's so much easier when you have somebody there, a partner there with you, helping you. So I am happy to be that resource for you guys. And I'm looking at the questions here. Oh, I have another one. Okay. Here, one more. I'm not done. Thank you so much, you guys. I'm not done. All right, that's the work right there. You guys had got it. Yes, we are going. Yeah, yes, we are going to do. No, we're going to do it right now. We're going to do question 2 right now. My notes are so sloppy. I wrote all over it. So yes, it was 90. Okay, here we go. Here's the next question I have here. Okay, let me make it big so you guys can see. Okay, so the next question. Da 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 da. All right. A patient is prescribed Simethicone, 30 milliliters PO BID. Do you guys know what those abbreviations mean? All right. PO BID. You should know what that means. All right. So the medication comes in 50 milligrams per 500 milliliters. How many teaspoons are in each dose? How many teaspoons are in each dose? Okay. Now, NCLEX loves to give you guys distractors. All right. They love to give you guys distractors when it comes to adding additional information. So you don't even need to know the 50 milligrams and 500 milliliters. It's totally a distractor. It's asking you basically how many teaspoons are in 30 milliliters. That's it. So you need to know that that conversion factor of teaspoons to milliliters. All right. So how many do you guys have for that? Let me show you. So the prescribed dose, yep, I see it. I see it. The prescribed dose is 30 milliliters, and you need to divide 5 milliliters into the 30 because that's how many 1 teaspoon is. So if you divide 30 by 5, that is 6 teaspoons, okay? 6 teaspoons. And I see the answers coming. I'm gonna leave it up for just a second so you can see how to set up the problem. Okay, good job. Excellent job. Excellent. All right, and I see the question about the ice chips. So right now I'm going to go back to that question too, just to make sure that we clarified it and just to make sure that I wrote it down right. Going back to the ice chips here, okay? So again, the patient took 6 ounces of ice chips. How many milliliters of fluid should the nurse record? Okay, and 6 ounces, we're only recording half of the 6, which is 3 ounces. Half of the 6, which is 3 ounces. All right, and there are 30 milliliters in 1 ounce. So if we multiply that 3 times for 3 ounces, you get 90 milliliters. Okay. All right. So I hope everybody sees that for clarification. And why record 3? Because the ice chips, let me show myself. Okay. Because ice chips, even though the water's in a different form. So the ice chips will fill up a cup to 6 ounces, but when the ice melts down, it will only be half of what you saw. Does that make sense? Because the water has expanded, but it's still the same amount of water, okay? It just looks bigger. Does that make sense? I don't know how else to explain that. There is half of what you see when ice turns into a solid. When water turns into a solid, it expands, but when it melts down, it's only half of what's there. I don't know how to. Yes, somebody more scientific can explain that for me. Somebody said it's the density that expands, and Mark said air is added to it somehow. All right, so that's that answer. But the answer was 90. All right, and again, if you signed up for this, then you will be able to replay this video. Now, listen, there is homework here in your There's homework in your study session packet. If you feel inclined to do day one homework because it's fresh in your mind, go ahead and do the problems that we went over for the day. But day two, we're going to pick up tomorrow, and we will be picking up from page 8 on day 2. Okay. All right. I missed most conversion problems. Yeah, no, I did it. Most conversion problems require you. Yes, and I like that. Crystal Aiken said, you're recording the liquid, not the solvent. I thank you for that. Most math requires you to know conversion factors. Okay. All right. I love it. Yes. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. All right. Okay. So right now, the handout is available. It was totally free. This was a free class. This is a free class all week. There is no need to pay, okay, for this information. All right. So I'm going to bring Mark up here for a second, and then we will close this session. All right. You ready? Okay. All right. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Want me to stay?
Yeah, you can stay.
Okay.
All right. Just got to slide to the side.
No, go ahead. No, I got to go. Weird. All right.
Okay. We don't want
kicking me off my show.
Let's see if the height is okay. Okay. I think I'm here. But, you know, you could probably come back because the height is right for you, I think.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All right.
All right. See, perfect. I'd have to scoot down. All right, guys. My name is Mark. I am Regina's trusted sidekick and partner. I'm amazed to see all of you guys on tonight. And just two things I have to cover. One thing I just want to be of encouragement to you. And two things I just got to let you know some statistics of who is here and who is in the room. All right. So I'm on the back end, sending out emails and things of that nature, and making sure that you guys all get your workbooks for this study session. And I'm going to tell you exactly how many of you guys registered for this class. And we're going to look at the numbers and see who's here, and then kind of see why the numbers are different between those who register and those who actually attend. All right. So on the back end, we've had over 5,000 nurses and nursing students to register for this live review over the last 2 weeks. In fact, the number was 5,300 and some odd individuals to register. All right. Out of that, roughly 65% of you will be an RN after you pass NCLEX. So you're in school now for RN, or you've graduated as an RN and you're waiting to take NCLEX. 35% of you are indeed LPNs, right? So that's a really great number to be. 16% of you, 16% are in nursing school right now. So congratulations on starting your journey. 25% of you have graduated nursing school. Double congratulations to you. And you're just in the holding period between the time it takes to take NCLEX.
Yeah.
So you finish school. Now you're looking for the next steps in your career, in your NCLEX preparation. That's 25%. 45% of you are, in fact, repeat test takers. Okay. This is our core audience for the most part, because a lot of you find ReMar after using other resources that your school recommended or that you tried on your own and it just hasn't worked. So now you're looking to see what's going to work. And so that's 45% of you that are here with us today. And the last category I have are our international and foreign nurses. That's 14% of you. Just over 500 individuals are internationally trained foreign nurses, or English is your second or third language. So we're glad that each and every one of you are here tonight. But I have to say that there is a disparity, right? So over 5,000 people said, you know what, I want to take this class. It's a free resource. I want to sign up. All I have to do is log on to Facebook and I'm in. But out of that 5,000, let's do some math. Less than 20% actually are live with us right now, just over 1,000 individuals out of that 5,000. And it reminds me of a parable that we read about in Matthew chapter 13, where it talks about a large number of things are put out, but only a certain number come back, or only a certain number produce fruit, if you will. It's the parable of the sower. And it talks about a sower or a farmer who goes out and he sows his seeds, right? And he casts his seeds, and some of the seeds land on different types of ground, different types of soil. The first seeds that he threw out and landed, it says on the wayside or by the way, And the Bible says that fowls came and took the seeds away. So they didn't even get to sprout or take root at all. They didn't even get to grow. The next set of seeds were thrown and they were tossed and they landed on some stony places. And the stony places were interesting because they started to grow. They found the dirt. There was enough for them to grow, but it didn't have a chance to have deep roots. And because it didn't have roots, the Bible says that the sun came out and they got a little hot and they got dried up. And so those didn't make it either. The next set of seeds were thrown amongst thorns. And thorns can be a variety of different things. But these were thrown amongst the thorns and they took root. They started to grow, but they got choked out because they were in a tight situation, if you will. And the last group of seeds were thrown on what's called good ground or good soil, where they were able to get in there. They were able to take roots, and the roots were able to go deep enough so that they were able to grow and eventually bear fruit, right? So as I'm sitting here listening to the study session, I'm like, wow, this is some really basic concepts and basic principles, like 0 times 0 is 0, right? But you're watching this, you're like, well, what is this? Well, these are the seeds, okay? Now, these are the seeds. These are the small things that we just have to know that have to be in place in order for greater things to grow out of them. Some of you, might be in some of those situations. And the one thing I like about this is the ground didn't have, a choice of how it was. And the seed didn't have a choice of where it was cast or where it found itself. But you and I, living, breathing human beings, fully capable, are able to determine a situation that we want to be in, right? So for the fowls, it says like the wicked one took them away. Oftentimes you have your seeds of your hope, your career, your aspirations, but the circle that you're in, the influences that are around you, they kind of steal your dreams, if you will. They steal your hope, they steal your values, and because it's not deeply rooted within, it doesn't last. It's the exact same scenario for the ones that were thrown amongst the stony places. If whatever that you're doing, if it's not deeply rooted, it's not going to last. So that's what you have to ask yourself is by participating in this study session. And that's what I love so much. It's like Regina's just out here just throwing seeds out, right? With ReMar Review, we're throwing seeds. We're, giving you an understanding of the basic concepts and showing you testimonials and saying, hey, listen, you can do it too. But it's up to you as far as how deep your roots are, how big is your commitment to the goals that you have, right? So how committed are you to your goals? Or how committed are you to finishing nursing school? How committed are you to passing NCLEX? Are you deeply rooted in your convictions that this is where God would want you to be, right? And if you are deeply rooted and you find yourself in a place where you have the opportunity to plant yourself in good soil, take advantage of it by all means. Last thing I'll say is this. Wanted to say this because on the intake survey, we asked what are some of the things that you're dealing with or struggling with? And over half of you said that you were dealing with one of two things, either test anxiety or fear of getting started, not knowing exactly what to do. So it's our goal through this session to give you those tools to help you get over the test anxiety, because content, more than anything, when you learn what you need to do and you're able to execute it, then you feel comfortable in the process. So we want to teach you the content for NCLEX so that builds your confidence in the process. And secondly, in dealing with just fear of getting started, not knowing what to do, this is a complete system. We take you from the beginning to the end. Quick Facts is just the place that you can start, whether in your nursing school or preparing for NCLEX. But then there's also additional resources to help carry you throughout the entire way. But the thing I want to leave you with, and I'm done with this, is how deeply rooted are you in your conviction of this is the direction that you need to go. This is the direction that you want to go. Because when you find that out, then there's nothing that can stop you. All right, guys. Be blessed.
All right. I like that. That's a good word there. How deeply rooted are you? Woo. And that's something you can apply to anything, because how committed you are to something will be manifested by results, whether it's this NCLEX, whether it's your diet, whether it's working out, whatever it is. If you say you want something, there has to be some results there behind it. And the thing about it is that the results don't always just come easily. Sometimes it takes getting up after falling down, getting up after falling down again. You know, you might fall down a couple of times before you get there, but you eventually get there. You make up in your mind, I'm going to get there. And I love when we read the testimonials of people that says, you know, I had to take that test 7 times, but, you know, I'm here, you know, by God's grace, I'm here. I did it. I had those letters. So I need to encourage you guys in that way. I need this community to go ahead and encourage each other, to let everybody know that you may feel like you're totally alone in this study process. You may feel like you're not the smartest person. This is not really your thing, but you can still do this. This information can be mastered, and you can demonstrate that you're competent enough to be a nurse, because the competency is, I think, as a practicing nurse, I think the book knowledge is great, but when you're on that floor, it's not the book knowledge that the patients relate to. It's you. It's, can you see them where they are and be therapeutic and be empathetic, and overcoming adversities and trials in your life makes you compassionate towards others. So I know sometimes I hear people, or I see people making these comments on Facebook like, you don't need this in order to pass. It's easy. I did it, you know, first time 75, or this is simple. Y'all, why are we studying this? And, you know, if you don't need it, then you don't need it. But how dare you put somebody else down because they're seeking help? You know, and that's what makes the nursing field, I think, sometimes so aggressive towards new nurses, because nobody wants to admit that, yes, they started from someplace. We all started from someplace, right? So I'm gonna get off that hobby horse, but I love you guys. I love you guys and the encouragement that we bring here. This is a positive environment. This is not about, you know, who's better than who. And ain't nobody got time for that. All right. We're all on the same journey, and only what we do for God is going to last anyways. So with that being said, do your homework. Do your homework tonight, because you guys are in the learning mood. And since you're in the learning mood, go ahead and do your homework. Tomorrow, I'm coming back with day 2, where we will be getting into the calculations that you have to memorize, and actually applying the steps. Okay. So I'm excited for you guys. Don't overdo it. Don't try to prepare. Just come to class tomorrow. ReMar nurses report to class, and we will pick up where we left off. Thank you guys for joining me again. We kept it light today. It was light, Mark. Less than an hour. You know, sometimes we can go 2 hours, an hour, and 2 hours, 3 hours all day. Remember Black Friday? We did a telethon, but tonight we kept it light. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and email me, support@remarreview.com. Share this video. ReMar Nurses Unite. So many of you guys here. All right. And the homework is in the packet. So don't look, you don't have to go too far to look for it. All right. Okay. Good night, everybody. See you tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Be there, ReMar Nurses. Bye.